Hey, folks, welcome to More Than a Refresh, the T3D sessions. We are back for another Postgres Love Letters. Hunter, what kind of love letter do you have for us today?
My Postgres love comes from the kind of the query optimizer, understanding the query planner. And while it's a dry love at first, from what I experienced dealing with clients, the more and the more and the
The
more
more
I got
foreplay you
into,
give it.
yeah, it definitely got a lot easier and a lot more fun to use and a lot easier to read and understand it. Um, Dealing with some clients that come with us where they have queries that are doing just, oh, let me scan like a million rows real quick, and then I'm going to return 99% of them. For the next piece of the query to take out only like 1% of it, and getting to see why it's maybe using that instead of an index. Um, and then having uh, some of our other command prompt guys that I came from more of a sysadmin side, and now I'm getting more and more into the DBA side and getting to understand why Postgres takes the routes that it takes.
Mhm.
I think that's quite awesome when you start to understand that it's more statistical based and there are reasonings there. You just have to understand it. Like Postgres doesn't do um, query planning just for no reason. You can usually
Yeah,
find out the reason.
yeah, and it's a cost-based planner, right? So it is
Mm.
possible to manipulate it as well because nothing's perfect. And Postgres' planner does a good job, but a lot of people I've run into this over the years. It's like, well, it can't do what Oracle's planner can do. Yeah, Postgres doesn't have $1 billion worth of people every year working on its planner. So take that into consideration. But it is absolute since it is a cost-based planner, it is very easy to manipulate the planner when you do run into weirdness, which is rare nowadays, but it does happen. I mean, anything from, a lot of the planner-based costs are global, but
Mhm.
you can set them per session, right? So, or even per query, right? So you can have a situation where, or actually, you can even set them on tables. You can say this table has a random page cost of one,
Yeah.
right? Versus just the standard random page cost of say four. Um, but the point being is you're able to tell it, okay, we know this query is just wonky for whatever because of our data distribution, because of our structure, because we let web developers design the database, all that type of stuff. So how do we deal with that? And you can say, well, we're sending this query. So before we send this query, we're going to say up the work mem. We're going to decrease the random page cost. We know the CPU operator cost needs to go up. We can turn off nested loops, whatever the case may be for this query.
Yeah. And the ability to kind of create those subsets allow you to kind of massage it almost, if you will, to get the performance that you need. Like I said, we've had multiple clients where, I've seen some of our more experienced DBAs, such as uh, Justin, I'm sure you've had on here. Um, he's turned queries that literally take multi day to run into less than hours to run.
Oh,
And
we just had, you're absolutely right. We just had a case today come through. Not going to say the clients, of course, because we work with all the clients that people wish they could work with. That I believe that the query was taking 90 minutes and we got it down to something like less than a second,
yeah, yeah, there's been
right?
multiple cases where the execution time of these things has been, again, I'm coming from more of a sysadmin, you're watching the CPU spike, the memory spike, the session count
Mhm.
go out of control. And then because um, you can look at every single query using certain monitoring tools and then go through them and explain, analyze, and you can see all the stats. You can really see where the draws in your database are using those tools. And I think that's really elegant comparatively to When I look at even some of the newer shiny cloud database stuff that's been coming out, a lot of that stuff gets locked down and you don't get to explore it as much. And it's because they're rewriting something in the background, or they're kind of doing some cloud big corporation magic that they don't want you to exactly maybe see how the IO is working.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. But I don't think there's a couple things. One, I mean, we know for a fact that RDS adds um, optimizations within the operating system as well as the Postgres kernel that it is running. Okay, we
Mm,
know that. That's a fact. They don't always talk about what optimizations, but there are reasons why in certain if you take RDS on a one-to-one basis versus Postgres on EC2, using the exact same workload, sometimes RDS will perform better, and it's because of some
mm,
micro optimizations that they have done specifically for RDS, and those aren't necessarily configuration optimizations; they are code that the
mm,
community itself would never accept because they are very specific to the way AWS is doing things. Otherwise, AWS probably would give it back because they're real good about that. Um, but on the other hand, there is the security profile that they got to be aware of,
yeah.
right? They can't give you since Postgres isn't like Oracle, right? Postgres runs on top of, not as it doesn't use the operating system as a bootloader. Oracle uses
Mm,
the operating system as a bootloader, kind of like how Novell NetWare used to work. But Linux, or excuse me, Postgres uses Linux. It relies on the kernel for memory management. It relies on the kernel for cache management, IO management, all those types of things. So it would be very difficult to give, say, an RDS user, or Alloy DB if we're talking about Google,
mhm,
that undercarriage look, that slide under the car to see where the oil's dripping look in a secure
mhm.
way. That would be complicated.
I think the reason I think comes from a conversation I was having with my friend yesterday. He would rather own the brand new Corvette that just came out that can only be worked on Corvette
The
by
mid-engine?
uh, whatever the new performance package. He was looking at the
Okay,
new
you're gonna
drag
bring up a
line.
car and not know about the car.
Uh, so before we go
Okay.
there, if we go back, I would rather own a box body Chevy, an old 70s. It was my first truck, but I knew everything that was going on in that truck
Yep.
from front end to rear, and I could work on it all myself. I could customize it to exactly what I needed. And I feel like in personal, like from working with our clients and from going on separate systems, I'm not able to exactly know what AWS or what cloud based Postgres is doing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying that the Corvette won't outrun my Chevy,
Right.
but I know everything that's going on in my Chevy and I can control every little thing. And that's what I really enjoy about Postgres is being able to like massage everything.
It's interesting. Two things. One, I saw a video today, 5:30 in the morning when you have to be quiet. It was a guy pulls up to a gas station, and he is in a beat up old Dodge Ram, and I mean, we're hillbilly effigy all over the place, right? But he has a
Hmm.
Viper V10. He's got the Viper V10 in this beat up, ridiculous truck. So ultimate sleeper. But the other part I want to bring up, and this will be my closing point. Well, I have two closing points, but this will be the one that's directly is control.
Mm,
Um, Most people, most clients, most people, most corporations don't want control. They want it to just work so that they can prioritize just running their business. So while I'm on the same page as you, this is why cloud-based services have become so popular. It has nothing to do with the sense of ease because cloud-based services aren't easier than on-prem. They are not. It's just a different complicated. What it does is make it be perceived as easier from those who are not like you and I, those who are not in the trenches and turning the wrenches and tightening the screws, right? and they see that as a benefit, but they will always hit a ceiling. And with that, this has been another more than a refresh. The Postgres Love Letters with Hunter O'Brien, the best hair in command prompt.